All right, so thank you so much for being here today. I'm Dan Handford, one of the managing partners of a group called PassiveInvesting.com, and today we're going to be talking about finding partners for your apartment syndication team. So if we're going to go through these different topics here, strategies for finding partners, what not to do when choosing your partners, how to separate those duties, and also setting up the best communications for success between your partners so that you are set up for success and you will not have one of those failed partnerships, if you will, that multiple people hear about and talk about. Before we get started into the content real quick, I wanted to share with you a little bit about my background. So instead of going through a lot of detail with that, you can go to our website there, PassiveInvesting.com, click on Meet the Team. And when you go to Meet the Team, there's a list of the team that we have. We have a great solid team there. You can look through each one of them, kind of see what their various roles are, whether it be multifamily or self-storage. Our finance team, as well as our debt fund team with Rehab Wallet being the borrower facing front there. So you can certainly go there and kind of see our team as we continue to grow and expand. We have right now roughly about 38 people on our team that are working directly with PassiveInvesting.com. And so you can go to Meet the Team, click on my name. When you click on my name there, or my picture, you will see a video here that talks about me. Real briefly, you can actually see that I'm married to my wife today. We have 4 children, 3 girls and a boy, and of course we also have a little dog, a standard poodle, not so little, dog named Bella. We work and live here in Columbia, South Carolina. So I won't go into much more detail with that. You can feel free to go there to find out more information about me as well as the rest of our team members. And if you're interested in investing with us, you can obviously click on this little blue button in the top right-hand corner and fill out your information, or fill out this form here on the right. And someone from our investor relations team will reach out to you, discuss your investment goals to see if you're a right fit for our group and vice versa. And then if you're interested in some of our current offerings, you can see some of the offerings that we have available right now. We have our real estate debt fund, our self-storage fund, and then our current offering called Las Palmas Apartments. It is currently full. It is a $109 million acquisition that we are raising $38 million for, and we're currently oversubscribed on that. So we do have backup investors on that, but if you are interested in being on the backup, you can certainly do some research on that and figure out more information about us there. All right, and then the last thing here is about the MFIN Summit. The MFIN Summit is coming up very quickly. The MFIN Summit is coming up this weekend, January 20th, 21st, and 22nd. So if you have not registered, make sure you go there. We're going to have 40, 50 speakers. 500 and 900 attendees is what our target is right now. So you can go there. This is not the first time we've done this. We've done this multiple years in a row, and we've done it twice a year. So make sure that you register and you're part of that event, and that way we can have a great event for both the speakers as well as the attendees. It'll be a great place for you to find new partners, as well as be able to find new investors to be able to invest alongside you in some of the offerings that you have available. So got a great host, got a great list of speakers there. Would love to have you be a part of that event later this weekend. And if for some reason you're watching this video and it's already past the event, still go to mfinsummit.com. You can find out more information about the next event that we'll have coming up in June of 2022. All right, so let's dive into this topic of finding partners for your apartment syndication. So there's the first thing I want to do is talk to you a little bit about some of the strategies behind trying to find partners. So first off, you're not gonna find partners for your group by just being behind your computer and listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos and various things like that. The only way you're going to be able to find partners for your business and for your apartment syndication business is to get out there and start to network with other people. You should be going to as many live in-person conferences as possible, whether they're virtual or online, and be active and networking and telling people, hey, I'm good at X. I'm looking for X, and let them know what you're looking for, right? And we're going to discuss some of those things later on so that you understand the reasons why you want to be able to have people that are part of your group that that are partners with you that have different skill sets, if you will. So one of the best ways to do that is to network with other people and let people know what you're looking for in a partnership. And it's okay to go ahead and get started in the beginning with just you, as long as you are looking for partners to partner with. When I say partners, I'm not talking about like co-sponsors or co-GPs or anything like that. I'm talking about like with our group, we have 3 managing partners. You saw that on the screen over here, right? So our 3 managing partners, you can see there at the top. Myself, Daniel Randazzo, and Brandon Abbott. We are the 3 managing partners of PassiveInvesting.com, and we feel like we have a great complementary skill set. We have a great partnership, and what I do see quite often is that people try to when they go to try to find partners, they find them in the wrong way, and they don't really have somebody that can really support them and come alongside them. And then they have this failed partnership, and it's really challenging and cumbersome to try to unravel a failed partnership down when it comes to these types of assets, because most of the time the investors, the passive investors, are the ones that are going to be missing out the most or hurt the most, because they're the ones that are have to potentially have an asset that sells sooner rather than later just to get out a partner or something like that. So you want to be careful to, in the very beginning, you partner with people that can be there with you into perpetuity, if you will, or at least into the long term, right? Now, this second topic here about what not to do when choosing your partners, which is this topic right here. The biggest thing here is, and you've heard me talk about it just a minute ago, about finding partners that have a complementary skill set than you. And so what this means is that you don't want to find somebody else that likes to do things the way you like to do them, right? Now, that might be counterintuitive, because a lot of times when we make friends with people, we make friends with people and say, I'm good at underwriting, so I'm going to go to an event, and I meet with this person who they like underwriting, and we hit it off really well, and we're good friends, right? And then those friends might go, well, since we're friends and we're both in multifamily, well, and we both like underwriting, let's go into business together. Well, I've researched a lot of failed partnerships, not just in multifamily, but in multiple facets of businesses in multiple industries. And the number one reason why partnerships fail is because partners butt heads about certain things, about the way they like to do things, and they don't have complementary skill sets. And you really need those complementary skill sets in order to make it work. So 1 second here. Sorry about that. Little distraction there. Sorry about that. So you want to find a partner that has a complementary skill set. So let me give you an example. So let's just go back to our Meet the Team page here, right? So we have 3 managing partners, and I'm going to share with you, this is kind of going over this third topic about how to separate the duties with your partners. So what you need to do is you need to find partners that have complementary skill sets, meaning if you like to do underwriting, you can be friends with somebody else that likes underwriting like you, but don't partner with them. You need to partner with somebody who is really good with like investor relations, or that has that front-facing mentality of being able to promote and attract new investors into the fold. And then also maybe look for another complementary skill set of person that can do broker relations and acquisitions and disposition, and maybe somebody else that can do asset management, and have these complementary skill sets so that all like to do things the same things. And the reason why this is important is because what happens when you go into business with somebody who likes to do things, who likes to do the same things, is that number one, you're missing the skill sets that are complementary to what you don't really like to do or don't really want to do. But then you also will begin to butt heads with that other person when it comes to underwriting, and you really want to try to avoid that at all possible. So let me share with you kind of how we've delineated our duties between myself, Danny, and Brandon. So with myself, my primary focus is on investor relations, marketing, and the overall strategic objectives of the group. How can we push things forward and move things in different directions? And then Danny's background is really he was a former top financial analyst for one of the large consulting firms, financial consulting firms around the country. That are actually international. And so his background is all about underwriting and spreadsheets and working with the financing and the lenders and the attorneys, and also heading up our asset management division as well. And then Brandon, on the other hand, his is all about acquisitions. So he has a background in construction management, and also as an independent adjuster for some large they are international, but some large national insurance carriers around the country. And so he has that background with being able to go to a property and have an eye for like trying to catch certain things that maybe a regular acquisitions person might not find. but he can train and teach these acquisitions people that we are hired on now to look for certain things. And so with his background, he heads up all of our acquisitions, and he also heads up our dispositions team as well. It works very closely with the property management companies on the CapEx and making sure things are staying in line and in budget with the way we set things out. And so you can see that each one of our partners has their own separate lane that we live in. And yes, there's going to be overlap, but not a lot of times, but many times what we've had to do is say, okay, stay in your lane. I got this, right? And you have to have partners that you trust to manage that piece the right way and give them that flexibility and the freedom to be able to run it the way they feel fit, or the way they see fit. Because at the end of the day, we're all three in it together, right? We all three want to have the success of passiveinvesting.com. So in your group that you're starting, you want to make sure that you find partners that can have complementary skill sets to you, right? So make sure that when you're finding those partners, you can lay it out like this. Now, you might look at this and go, well, what if I want 5 partners instead of 3? That's fine. I think any more than 5 is probably too many cooks in the kitchen. So 5 is probably the max. It's probably still a lot, in my opinion. I think 2 is at a minimum what you should have. 2 unrelated people. So it can't be a husband and wife that are partners. There'll be 2 unrelated people. And then 3 or 4 is probably the sweet spot, which is why we have 3. Of course, 4 would be a little bit more than that too. But I think 3 to 4 is probably your sweet spot. 5 is probably getting into the point of being too many, but anything over 5 is way too many. I would definitely not do that. And then 2, I think is probably too many, or not too many, is not enough, right? I think you need to have at least 3. But at the very minimum, 2 would be sufficient. And another reason why I'm saying that is because one of the things that we talk about is to our investors is about red flags for passive investing. And so if you actually go to our website here on the top right-hand corner, you click on the Knowledge Center, you actually click on this link here that says red flags for passive real estate investing. And I'll also see if I can type into the chat box there we go. There's an article on our website here which actually talks about the red flags for apartment investing. And so inside of this, and I'm going to go ahead and just type this here so everybody can see it. This is this article for the red flags for passive apartment investing. One of the things you'll see is one of the red flags is if the group only has one managing partner, I personally will not invest with them. And of course, it's something that we teach our investors that if you are looking at other operators, which we know you are, here's some things to look for to make sure you find a group that works that could potentially be a really good fit for you. And so red flag number 3 is only one managing partner. So we want to make sure that we have at least 2 managing partners, but ideally, as you can see here, 3 managing partners on the project. All right. So we talked about strategies for finding partners. We talked about what not to do when choosing your partners. We talked about how to excuse me, talk about how to separate duties with your partners. And let's talk about setting up the best communication for success between your partners. So first off, this will be the last topic that I'm talking about. So if you have questions about anything that I've talked about so far, those of you who have joined us live, feel free to type those into the chat box, and I will do my best to answer those questions for you with the time that we have. We have probably about 9 more minutes left to be able to finish up the webinar for today. But the last topic here is setting up the best communications for success. So one of the things that we do as a group is each one of our teams, we have, as far as our teams, I mean, we have our investor relations team, we have our investor services team, we have our marketing team, we have our acquisitions team, we have our asset management team, we now have our finance team in place. We have a lot of different teams in place. We have regularly scheduled weekly or bi-weekly phone calls with those teams to make sure that things are being done the way that we really want them to be done. And any news that comes out that needs to be presented to everybody, that information is being able to be disseminated so that everybody is on the same page across multiple teams in the organization. But between partners, we do the same thing. We have regularly scheduled calls with our partners, and each one of these I say partners between myself, Danny, and Brandon, so our 3 managing partners. We have these regularly scheduled phone calls, but then we also are very integrated into Teams at this point. So we have a lot of our communication happens through Teams, whether it be collaborative documents, whether it be collaboration between chatting back and forth. And so there are a lot of communication things that we are doing and we have done within Teams that allows us to have that open communication. But then, I mean, every single day I'm communicating, whether it be via email or text message or chat via the Teams chat or phone calls with both Danny and Brandon. It's almost every single day, I would say, we're communicating in some form or fashion. But we do also have regularly scheduled meetings where we can talk about some of the more strategic things about how we're going to change and move things as we go forward. And we also have a annual meeting where we sit down with the three partners and we come up with our kind of goals, if you will, for the next year. And so we do have that kind of end of the year, first part of the next year where we get together as a group to be able to brainstorm in order to do that. So as far as setting up the best communication, you got to have those regular meetings and make sure that they're purposeful. So make sure that you have an agenda, make sure that you know what you're going to be covering during that event, during those different sessions, so that you don't just go to the meeting and you just like listen to each other breathe, right? And in the beginning, you might just be listening to each other breathe if you don't have a deal to look at or underwrite or review, or if you don't have, you know, a new team members that you're looking to hire on and various things like that. But you want to make sure that you have an agenda of like what's going to be covered in this particular session. So make sure that you have those regularly scheduled phone calls, or, you know, we have Teams meetings where we can, it's very similar to like Zoom, it's done via Microsoft Teams. And then having an open ability for communication, whether it be via email, phone, text, Teams chat, whatever communication is available, to make sure that you guys are communicating across multiple fronts, because investor relations, investor services has to talk to acquisitions and asset management to make sure everybody's on the same page. And marketing has to be involved in that and across multiple areas there, because they're also doing like the monthly property updates. They're doing the investor offering memorandum. So there's a lot of different things that are involved with a lot of these different pieces of the puzzle, if you will. And you want to make sure you have that communication that's set up for success, not only with your partners, but also with the rest of your team members as well. All right, so we have about six minutes here for some questions. I see a couple of them that are coming in. So Danny's asking, what's your biggest red flag regarding finding a partner? Well, I will say this, that when you find a partner, you want to make sure. So the biggest red flag, I would say, is what I've already talked about, right? If we want to talk about red flags, the red flag would be you like to do underwriting, they like to do underwriting. You like to do investor relations, they like to do investor relations, right? If they like to do broker relations and you like to do broker relations, it's not a good fit. Don't go into business or something like that. It's a big, huge red flag, right? You want to make sure, or if they've had failed partnerships in the past, make sure you ask about that. That could be a big red flag, and ask you like, what was the reasons why the partnership failed, right? 9 times out of 10 is going to be because there weren't complementary skill sets in the partnership, right? But there could be some other underlying issues that could be there that could be a potential red flag. But when you're finding that other partner, one of the best things you can do is don't meet somebody at a conference and all of a sudden like ask them to be partners with you, right? Ask them to stay in contact with you and connect with you, and kind of, you know, you stay in contact with them. You can start to follow some of their content or some stuff that they're doing. You're following they're following your stuff. And that's really the best way to find somebody is to just, again, stay in contact with somebody and watch them and how they interact with other people and how they do some of their content, if they're doing anything. And if they're not, make sure you reach out to people and ask them, hey, what do you know about this person? What do you think about this person? What are your thoughts, right? That's one of the nice things about joining some sort of like mentoring or coaching program is that you already know that they had a large investment to be able to be in some sort of coaching or mentoring program. So to be connected up might be a good thing because they already have that high level of being able to invest in themselves, if you will. Are you and your partners in the same city? So two of the partners are in the same city. So myself and Brandon Abbott live here in Columbia, South Carolina. We live about 20 minutes away from each other. And Danny Randazzo actually is down in Charleston. So he's about an hour and a half away. I say we rarely go down to Charleston to visit with him. A lot of times we're in Charleston, we don't visit with him because it's, whether it be touring a property or for just visiting family or friends or vacationing, we don't always get together with him. But I'd probably say at least, you know, half a dozen to a dozen times a year we're getting together with him in person and having different meetings. But it's not one of those things where you necessarily have to be in the same town or in the same time zone, if you will, with your partner. I know people that have a partner on the East Coast and a partner on the West Coast, and they get along very well, and they do really well. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have them close to you. It is nice, but you don't necessarily have to do that. Let's see, are all the partners involved in each deal, and or do they sometimes divide and conquer by deal? So we are always involved in every single one of the deals that we put together. So yes, there is divide and conquer, but it's not necessarily by deal, but it's divide and conquer each deal, right? Because the way we've separated our duties, each one of us has to be involved in some form or fashion with every single deal, because our skill sets are in different areas for every single deal. So there's never going to be a time where I'm going to go and go find my own property and do that, right? That's Brandon's job. His job is broker relations. He's now built out a great solid core team that we have on our acquisitions team that has allowed us to be able to acquire the assets that we have acquired. So the answer to your question is, we're going to stay in the lanes that we've set out from the very beginning and divide and conquer every deal the same way. How much experience should you look for in a partner? Well, I mean, that's a great question. In the very beginning, we had each one of our managing partners had different experience in the different ways that we were doing certain things, as far as Brandon being in construction management and real estate from that perspective, but he had never been on the acquisitions front, right? But each one of the managing partners is in a position where we're gonna go get the education that we need to be able to conquer the acquisitions that we need to acquire. So I would say that it would be nice to have people that have experience. Yes, it would be, but it's not necessarily a requirement, if you will. All right, when you're just starting out with syndication, do you suggest prioritizing finding a partner or hiring a coach? Hire a coach. That would be the very first thing I would definitely do, is hire a coach first. That's what I did too. That's what Danny did. Brandon came alongside of us, and we already had coaches on our side, and he came alongside us. But Danny and I both had coaches, or a coach we shared together before we actually partnered up. So I would definitely hire a coach first, because a lot of times those coaches will connect you with other students that they have, and now you're being trained the same way, and it's a lot easier to move forward that way as well. So do all managing partners have equal ownership of the company? So yes, PassiveInvesting.com LLC is split up a third, even though each partner is going to be doing things differently, and it can be, each one of us is busy in a different way. But there'll be some times where if there's no deal to raise money for, on my side, we might not be as busy, right? But the same thing on their side. If Brandon's doing a lot of acquisitions, and then once he's got them all teed up and they're under contract, I mean, they're looking for the next deal, but he's not going to be as busy as we are with the investor relations side, and same thing with Danny. So there's a lot of different things there that go into that particular piece. But to keep it easy for us, we just split it up a third. Is there a flow chart for a new partnership? Not necessarily. I don't really see a real flow chart really necessary for that, but each person is going to provide a different skill set. So even though we have our duties separated the way we have them, you might not want to separate them that way, right? You might find different skill sets in different people and separate them a different way. All right, let's see. What is the hardest skill set to find in a partner? I mean, I think the biggest one is going to be underwriting and finance. That's going to be a very hard one to fill, because you want to make sure that you find somebody that is conservative enough and not so aggressive that you just go buy a bunch of deals that are going to fail, right? But you want to make sure that you find somebody that can do the underwriting and do it very, very well, and also very fast at the same time. Let's see. With divide and conquer, how do you handle managing partners' capital? So when it comes to raising capital from limited partners, then of course that's going to be all on the investor relations side. So for me, that's going to be all the people that are underneath my team when it comes to raising the capital. And even if we made a decision from the very beginning, even when it comes to, if Danny brings in an investor or Brandon brings in an investor, they bring them right over to us and my team. So they introduce them to my team. We take care of them. We have phone calls with them. We get them to the point of investing in the next deal. There is no all right, Danny, you brought in this much money, and Brandon, you brought in this much money, and I brought in this much money. We're pulling all of our resources together as a group, and we're separating and dividing based on those responsibilities. And so all of the investor relations piece goes over to my side, and we don't split it up based on who brings in partner capital, if you will, or anything like that. All right, so I know you guys have a lot of other questions in here. I don't want to have a chance to be able to get to all of these, but I'll answer one more question, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up for today. I'm about 2 minutes over my time here. So let me see here. Dan, you are so on point. I took on a partner who is supposed to be managing investor relations, but her expertise happens to be underwriting. Our fundraising is suffering because of that. So not a question, but definitely a good point to bring up. Again, you got to find somebody who has those complementary skill sets, and it's definitely a good case in point there. All right. How do you handle requests from investors asking to be part of PassiveInvesting.com as a partner or to buy shares of PassiveInvesting.com? Well, Tinny, we just don't have any of that option available to them. So I don't think we've ever had anybody ask us about that. I know there's a lot of people that have been wanting to partner with us that we've turned away because we have plenty right now as it is. We don't need another partner to be able to come alongside the 3 managing partners that we have now. So we just, tell them, well, of course, we're flattered. Thank you so much for wanting to invest in PassiveInvesting.com itself. But there's nothing available for sale and everything like that in that company. And but if you'd like to invest alongside of us in one of our future offerings as a LP, a limited partner, you can certainly do that and then find out more information about how to do that as well. All right. Well, I want to thank each one of you for being here. Hopefully that was helpful. I know a lot of times these topics are quick, but a lot of these topics are topics that a lot of people think about and they want to learn more about how to improve their business, improve their syndication, and improve their operations. So hopefully this is something that, as those of you who are getting started, you can be able to find and solidify a new team member into your team. But I want to thank you for being here, and don't forget to go to the mfinsummit.com and register for this weekend. If you're not able to make the entire weekend, it's okay. All the sessions are recorded. You'll have access to the recordings for each one of the sessions for up to 6 months. So go there, register, and look forward to seeing you this weekend at the MFI Summit. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.